Three, two, one.
Sometimes I feel overwhelmed by shows today. Sure, the shows coming out are certainly entertaining and I do enjoy watching them, but there's also something else I desire. An itch that hasn't been scratched since I was a kid, and so I find myself searching for the shows I watched when life was more simple. Instantly, I become engrossed in the universes that felt so familiar to me, like a warm blanket and a cup of hot chocolate. These shows, of course, are cartoons, but it never feels the way it felt. I watch these in a different way than I do shows coming out nowadays. I watch these in a state of mourning. I mourn the time when these shows were fresh, and more importantly, I miss the kid I was when I watched them. But when I watch them in retrospect, I begin realizing that these shows were much more than grabbing our attention to hold us for as many ads as they could possibly throw in. These shows were lessons, ideas given to us by the creators because honestly, they knew much more than I did at the time, and they were trying to, save my life. Let's take a look at a show I'm sure most of you have watched, Phineas and Ferb. From an outsider's perspective, it looks like the same show every episode. The main characters, Phineas and Ferb, are trying to make the most of each day of summer break, and so engage in ridiculous activities and build some massive contraption, only for it to disappear before their parents can catch them. It's simple, repetitive, and mindless, right? Well, no. Maybe I read too much into it, but hey, that's my job. It's so much more than that. And to really take a look into why this show is much deeper than that, we have to look at one of the quote-unquote antagonists of the show. Candace Flynn. Candace is a teenage girl and the boy's older sister, but what she represents is more than just an authority figure. Candace represents adulthood. Sure, she's not a fully fledged adult herself, but what does she stand for? She's a voice of reason. She's trying to make sure that the boys don't do anything crazy and tries to get them caught whenever they do. A simple perspective makes it seem like just some fun, mindless drama, but there's more. The boys are growing up, and although they don't really age in the show, the whole premise is to make the most out of summer vacation. Phineas and Ferb want to make the absolute most out of each day because they know that this time in their life will end eventually. Suddenly, the show seems a lot darker than it did. With the characters never aging, it makes the show look like a feeble attempt to retain a fleeting childhood. Time is not infinite, and yet Phineas and Ferb reject the idea of a relaxing summer vacation where they lay inside on their phones like I did, and instead embrace the mindfulness to make the most out of every single second. But this isn't the only show that explores this motif. It can be compared extremely well to another popular show from the time, Gravity Falls. Dipper and Mabel Pines are 12 years old when the show opens, just two preteens, also on summer vacation, but in this universe, time does march on. They grow older. The show progresses to their 13th birthday, a symbol at the time of the death of childhood, the teenage years. The two contrast each other in the mindset to growing up. Dipper has his life planned out until college and beyond, and can't be bothered to just be a kid. Mabel, on the other hand, is more like Phineas and Ferb. She tries to hold on to the time that seems to be slipping away so incredibly fast. There's no older sister here to remind them of the inevitability of growing up. They are purely products of their own choices. The show becomes brutally sad when you realize Mabel's intentions. She's not ready to be an adult. She wants that warm, innocent embrace of childhood to last forever. This becomes the main plot point in the beautifully written finale of 3 episodes that is Weirdmageddon. Bill Cipher, the main antagonist, approaches her, albeit in disguise, and tricks her innocent mind into thinking that she can make time stand still. Just a few more weeks of summer. I can't blame Mabel for what she did. This is possibly the best example of what I'm driving at in all of media. The naive idea that one can be a kid forever, never getting older. I had just turned 13 when the show ended. I was there, growing up right alongside my 2 favorite animated characters. At the time, I always sided with Dipper in his idea of childhood, that it stood in the way of being great, of being successful, that time was inevitable and so we must embrace it and enjoy it. And while that is a pretty good way to look at it, nowadays I side more with Phineas, Ferb, and Mabel. The inevitability of time has become my greatest enemy. So as I sit here and watch these little shows that were my life back in the day, I can't help but mourn them. I mourn the world back in the 2010s where every day I could see these characters be intentional with their time and make the most of every day of summer vacation. And yet, whenever my summers rolled around, I found myself playing games, watching shows, and just sitting idly while time slipped by so brutally fast. If you're still at the age of childhood innocence, I envy you. Go make the most out of it. Go ride your bike with your friends. Go explore the woods near where you live. Know that this time will pass for better or for worse. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.